All right, welcome to Private Money Club Mondays. Today is going to be all about single flips, so like one-off flips. So like I was saying a minute ago, we talked about turnkey rentals last week. We talked about, some of the passive private funds in past weeks. We've had like Steve Lawson on before and Chris Naugle on before, and some of the investors that are more experienced that you've seen. Luke is brand new to the Private Money Club, but Luke is not brand new to real estate. Luke has been a realtor and an investor for quite some time now. And Luke, I'll let you introduce yourself in a second, but Luke, thank you for being here. So how are you, good sir?
Good, man. I'm doing well.
So tell us, so what we're going to do today is I want Luke to just kind of introduce himself to the Private Money Club and give a little bit of value, like what he brings to the table. So just a little bit, Luke, about maybe any deals you've done, briefly in the past, what you got going on right now, maybe a little bit about your team. I don't even know if you've had a chance to put together a perfect loan proposal yet or not, but it doesn't matter because you're here in person talking to us the same stuff that would be on that proposal anyway. So we'll kind of go through that. Luke, if you wouldn't mind, just give us a little bit of info, like what your background is, or, what this is all about for you.
Word up. Yeah, man. So, I always start, I don't know why I start my background with making sure everybody knows that I was a teacher. For some reason, that's important to me. So, I taught for 11 years and it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. I got into teaching because I saw you could make a difference in kids' lives, and that was important to me. I also saw that the people in charge of making a difference for kids' lives, I felt like they could do a lot better, right? Fast forward 11 years and I'm kind of burnt out with the situation, and I'm stepping into real estate and I'm getting that same feeling. Man, what a great industry. There's a lot of people that you can help, but there's a lot of people that I felt were not doing their clients, the best service. So I made the switch. It was about 7 years ago. And I started, and as soon as I got into real estate, I was surrounded by real estate agents, and there's hustle and bustle and go, go, go. And after a year or so that I was just paying attention, I was like, these agents, like, they're doing great, but it's a job, and they're missing the point. So it's like, if you see an investor like, oh, I got to go get this deal or whatever, and you're trying to make that happen, like, why not do it yourself? Why not get into that space yourself? So I started out where I was teaching and doing real estate for about a year and a half. And what I did, and this is, I tell this because I feel it's important for people and it's a way to kind of get things moving, was I was doing the two jobs, but I acted like the one didn't exist. So I had no lifestyle creep. I wasn't spending more money. Anything I made in real estate, I put to the side. A couple months after my kids were born, I looked and I had about $70,000, $80,000 sitting there. Said, well, I'm going to go buy something. And I went out and I negotiated this property. It was up for a year for like 88 grand. Got it for 44, and it was a duplex. So that was my first thing, cash duplex, getting $1,350 a month out of both sides. Wonderful numbers. It was all great. I was like, all right, now what the hell do I do? I was like, I kind of like this. This seems like it makes sense. I hear people talk about cash flow that are much smarter than me. I should look into that more. So then I just started leveraging and building it. So I took that. I got a commercial line of equity on that property for $50,000. Was able to find a dump. This is like 5 years ago, so get these prices out of your head. But I found a place for 14 grand that only needed about 35. Sold it, walked away with a profit of 70. And at that time, I was really burnt out already because I did the work myself. I just saw the opportunity and I acted, but I didn't have contractors. I didn't have anybody. I just did it. And I was like, I'm going to take a break. Then my sane happened. So I took a break, and all of a sudden these opportunities started coming out of the woodworks to me. And I was like, well, shit, man. Opportunity and timing don't give a shit about each other at all. I need to be able to move and go. And then it was fast forward from there. So that was like 2015-ish, 2016. It's 2021. I've grown that into, it's right around 50 units right now. And then I have, I think, 3 or 4 active flips going. So I tell that part of the story never because I'm like want to, brag or any of that shit, but it's just, it's very important to know that like, if you just pay attention to what other people are doing, they're giving you everything you need. There's no secrets in this business. You just watch what the successful people do and try to mimic it in your own world. And where I'm at, I'm in the Poconos in Pennsylvania, which the numbers here on anything work fantastic. The cap rate's amazing. Everything works really, really well here. So maybe I just lucked out because this is where I'm from and this is what I know. But you can pick up these properties at any point in time in any market, cash flow off them, find good flips, and that's that. But what I realized where my good skill set was finding the opportunities, and I can continually find them. And then I realized I go through those ups and downs of the investor. It's like, oh, you feel good, everything's going, but then you're like, oh shit, all my money's out on the street. All my own personal money's out there, which I'm kind of okay with. And then it limits the amount of projects you can do because I could take on more. So then I started borrowing from commercial banks. They had some good agreements there, and hard money lenders and some like private kind of conglomerates that I just got introduced to. But I don't know any of those people. It's an okay relationship. It's fine. But, I've known Chris for about a year or two, and I went to the mastermind and I got around a different group of people. I'm like, well, why not do business where you play, where you're at, give those opportunities out there. So I have not had an opportunity to do the perfect loan proposal yet, because that's unfortunately all in my head. But I throw stuff out there to people when I can. And that's pretty much it. I don't know what else I could say.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great story, but just like you said, it's not, there's no magic pill, there's no magic formula. It's hard work and it's determination and, it's focus really. It sounds like what you've done. And when you over focus or overwork, sometimes you got to take that step back. And
it's 100%. And it's hard to let go of that control that we have. We want to push everything and we want to control it. And that's good. But you do get to a point in time where your gut says, keep doing it. But if you surrender that control and you just say the hell with it, and you take a step back, you get so much clarity and like magic. I mean, it happens. It just starts piecing together, and the universe, God, source, life, whatever people want to call it, will continually push you along your path. You just have to be in tune with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And now you said you have about 50 units now, and you're working on 3 or 4 active flips. So I think Chris told me you've been pretty much using all your own money, or traditional.
I started out using my own money and just leveraged it. So like I got that first property I bought, I don't know anything on it still, and that was the source of the first like commercial line of credit. They're like, here, we'll give you 50 grand. Great. Now what I've done is I've gathered more properties. I've did cash out refis on them to build the bankroll. Then I put that out there, increasingly get lines. But even with that, like having access to, say $300,000-$400,000 of my own money that I've created, I could still do more without pushing it. Like there's more opportunities out there. And what happens is, like, I call it the backlog. Like I'm backlogged about 1.5 years of stuff that I purchased where I'm like, that'll work. And it doesn't matter what the market is, because it was the worst house I ever bought. I'll send you guys pictures of it later and you'll be disgusted. But it was $11,000, which the lot itself cost more than that. So I was like, the hell with it. I'm going to buy it. And if it sits for 2 years, that's fine, because you could always sell it for around 150 to 175 and the numbers would always work. So I have that like on the back burner. But then as that's there, other things come to you or in your face, or you find stuff. And I like to capitalize on things when I can. So eventually, something that is kind of a goal for me is like, I want to build up all that cash flow, but flip the script at one point in time and be like, all right, I got all the cash flow, I got the money sitting here, I can do a project when I want to for fun, and now I'm going to be on the lending side, right? Give other people the opportunity. But where I'm at right now, geographically and in life, it makes much more sense to be on the borrowing side and building that up.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you at the point where you just have the opportunities, you just need the funding to make more of those opportunities happen? Is that one of your thoughts of joining Private Money Club or?
Yeah, well, just dude, getting around the right people. It's been a search for me. A lot of people don't do things like this in this area this way, like a community type of collaborative thing. But for me, I always say the larger the access point of money that I have, I can find deals that make sense at any point in time. Like if somebody said, hey, here, we have $500,000 sitting there, we want it gone for a year, we want 10%, whatever, I'd start going and finding places that make sense. And for me, what I have to put in the perfect, loan proposal on many of these things, like I have a lot of exit strategies to make sure that whoever is owed money, contractors, lenders, whatever, they're always going to be taken care of before I'm taken care of. And if worst ever came to worst, it's like, okay, I'll turn that into a rental.
Right.
And I'll float it for a couple of years if I have to. Like if you do your numbers right, like you make all the money when you buy, not when you sell. So if you do it right in the beginning, you should be set where like markets could shift tomorrow and you'll still be okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's, like you said, at some point you want to flip the script and become the lender and you're on the borrower side. It seems like a pretty natural kind of evolution for an investor.
Yeah, that's what I've seen when you talk to the some older investors. They're like, that's the game, man. you flip the script and you get there and you're just lending and other people are capitalizing on opportunities and you're passive in it, but you're still making money. And like, the win-win is super important. And I'm like, there's more than just two wins usually. Like a bunch of people could win because I have a contracting crew too, which like they stick specifically with me. They're contracted through me. They're like my dudes and they don't have to run around and find other jobs. They know they have steady income. So it's like they win, my family wins, my business wins, the lender wins, like it's all. And then the people that are selling their homes, typically these distressed situations, a lot of them want to get out of it fast and don't want to play the traditional game of list with an agent, go through all the inspections, whatever. So then you provide those opportunities. So, if it's not a win-win situation or more, I just don't do it.
One thing, Luke, that I think is pretty cool about that too, with you being a teacher for so long and how that's still to this day important to you, the fact that you said, you want to share that. I have a feeling when you do flip over to the lender side, you'll probably be able to help a lot of those borrowers too, especially if they're newer, because you've gone through it, you have that experience, you could share that with them. And I have a feeling your teaching side is going to come out when that happens. So you'll one day be a very, very powerful lender, I bet.
It does, dude. The natural like facilitation of like, hey man, I've been here in this situation before. I've messed up. I've had successes and pitfalls and whatever. And to be able to convey that in a loving way to somebody that's in the same position, to me, I think that's a very powerful thing. I live my life by like, this mindset of like, who's the person I needed the most, right? And it's like, you become that person if you pay attention to it. So it's like, when I was just getting started out in real estate, who did I need? A mentor that would just shoot me the truth, and that this is how it works. Don't listen to all the other outside bullshit because there's so much stuff outside of us. Like, I know being a real estate agent, we're the most solicited people ever. There's always a new product, this. And it's like, dude, the fundamentals are all that you need. That's it. Anything outside of that is a shiny new object that, hey, maybe it could work for a little bit, but over the course of the time, it just doesn't.
Right. Yeah. It's hard to find somebody that'll give it to you straight these days too. So if you find that person, stick with them, man. Cause that's a rarity. It seems these days.
It's the ulterior motives. That's usually what it is. It's like people don't want to give without getting right away. And when you find people that'll continually give and give and give, they do that because they know that one, that's the right thing to do. And two, they don't have to worry about shit. Things will come to them and everything will be okay. They'll get their opportunities. It's like the difference between living in, a mindset of scarcity versus abundance, which is a hard transition. But once you get towards that abundance side, you're like, hey, no matter what, I know it'll be taken care of. Let me give out this information. Let me be an open book. I mean, that's the way I choose to live my life.
Yeah, no, it's a great thing. I have a feeling you won't have too much trouble getting any money you need for your deals because people like that honesty and that straightforwardness. At least I do. You know, it's the kind of
Yeah.
people I like to work with. So I want to get into a couple of the deals you got going right now. Are you looking for money right now, or these deals are already funded, or what do you got going with that?
So I have my sheet in front of me, but the one I remember, I got Gene, I know you're on here. I got to circle back with you and get things done for when this deal closes. But I'll tell you the story because it's interesting. Another real estate agent in the area reached out to me, and he said, "Luke, I heard through the grapevine that you're involved in investing and stuff like that." He goes, I'm kind of getting involved. I want to know if it was true or not or whatever. And I said, "Yeah, man, I mean, I definitely do a lot of it. I keep a low profile. I'm not posting about it all the time or whatever. And maybe that's my bad. Maybe I should." But we sat down and talked, and sure enough, when we were talking, he had this deal. And it was in a town called Hazleton, which is a town in my area right now where, I mean, shit's gone in a day or less, over asking, cash just flowing in. And it's traditionally an area where that doesn't happen too often. So it's pretty interesting. But anyway, he brought me this deal. I met him over at the house. The seller was there. And I said, "Listen, I'll take a look at it with you. I don't know if I'll be interested in myself. I'll help you along any way you can, maybe find somebody." Anyway, he was asking 75 grand for it. I looked at it and I said, "Well, shit, man, I could wholesale this and probably make 50 grand. Like, just buy it, put it right back up and do nothing." I'm like, if I keep it, I could rent it and make, it'll be like $1,200 a month. And this one, it's like it's a ranch, 3-bedroom ranch, but it has a huge streetcar garage in the back. And one thing I've learned to do is you charge the rent the normal up front, and you could rent the garage separately to somebody else because there's always people looking for storage. So I can get 500 out of the garage. I'm crunching all these numbers, and I'm like, shit, no matter what I do, I think I'm okay. If I keep this forever, I'm fine. If I sell it, I'm fine. Whatever the path of least resistance and what makes most sense for this particular property. I'm concentrating on cash flow, but for this one, if I can close on it and make 40, 50 grand, that's the same as doing a flip, right? So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I went back to him and I said, "Listen, I know how the game works. I know how wholesaling is. I know you certainly have this under contract for less than $75,000, but I'm okay with paying you $75,000 for this." So we worked it out. Then, after we signed all the paper, because this is our first deal together. We don't have a high level of trust, but it's not low. So he wasn't going to tell me everything right away. Well, he got it for 55. So this is his first wholesale deal, and the dude makes 20 grand, and I'm happy for him. I could care less. And I told him from the beginning, I hope you got it for 35. It doesn't matter to me. I'm happy to have the opportunity to move on. A lot of people will look at it like, oh shit, I could have offered him 65, whatever. That's kind of nickel and diming at that point. Let the dude make his money. Then what's going to happen is next time he has a deal, who's he going to come to? Hopefully me.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the current one I have, which I still have to circle back with Gene and believe he's going to lend on that. My plan is I have somebody that might need a place to live. So I might get them in there right away. And if that's the case, because I know they need to live there and they're good people and whatever, I'll turn it into a rental. I'll go to my local commercial bank, get Gene his money back plus his interest. And I know I'll still make money in between, because if I'm getting at 75 and it's going to appraise at like 130, 140, I get 80% of that, whatever. I just made money. Gene made money. The people are happy, and then I just look for something to do that again with.
Yeah. Just add another door to your portfolio.
If that's the highest and best use of it at the time, that's kind of how I roll with properties. Sometimes you look at them and you got to flip them.
I was just saying, I love that you are looking at it that way and that you have that mindset, because they're called exit strategies. So if you're new to investing, exit strategies are, or any investment really, not just exclusive to real estate, but specifically real estate, when you own, when you look at a property, what can I do with that property? So like he's saying, can I take that thing and sell it off and make 50, 60 grand just like that? If so, then let's do that. We can take that profit, roll it into another one. Or can I take that and turn it into a cash flow where I'm making $500-600 a month coming in, or whatever the numbers out to be, right?
Yeah.
Is that my idea? Or can I take it and, sell it to another investor? What is the, do a wholesale type deal with it? So having the mindset of, different exit strategies and maximizing the profits. Like you said, you can take the house itself and rent it out, take a garage, rent it out for more. We do that all the time in multifamily.
Yeah.
We look at how do we drive the value up without having to increase rents and things like that. Are there other, charge for, stuff as dumb as like Coke machines, and candy,
Right.
stuff like that. I mean, little things like that. So that's awesome that you're, keeping all that into account. And, me as a lender, if I'm watching this right now, that's all the stuff that I'm looking for in a borrower. So right now, so far, look, you're checking off all the boxes.
Yeah. Cool,
at least
man.
for me.
Yeah. Well, it's important to have an exit strategy in mind, but it circles back to the teaching thing. And I say this all the time, where it's like when you're dealing with a student, although there's already a playbook for how to teach, but every single kid will basically show you what they need, and you'll be able to get them in their highest and best. Properties are the same thing. One property might be here on the street, and the way it is, it's a single family home and it's really shitty, and all right, all the numbers work. That's telling me it's a flip. Versus, there's one 3 doors down that's a 2 unit and one's rented already and the other one, all right, that's going to be a hold. It's telling you kind of what the highest and best use of the property is, So it's just something interesting to look at. Houses and people are very, very similar. They're just like waving their hand and saying, "This is what I'm good. This is what I'm good at. This is what I need.
Right.
Give it to me and let me do my thing."
Yeah, no, it's a great thing, and creating those, like you said, win-win situations. I mean, if anybody's ever been through our 3-day Money School Essentials training that Chris and I do, and a lot of the previews that lead up to it, especially, we talk a lot about that stuff. Like, real estate's a relationship business, and the reason I'm bringing that up is, Luke, you said you have, one of the wins are the contractors that you work with. They know they have consistent work from you, that they're going to be for there, and I bet you that's probably a huge reason why you have such strong success right now is you're building those relationships where you now have those contractors that will get the work done when they say they'll get it done. And that's hard this day and age to find, especially with contract. I mean, you hear Chris constantly bitching about it, how he can't find contractors, but Chris is not doing flips every day anymore. So when he's hiring these contractors, yeah, he worked with them in the past, but he doesn't have that relationship necessarily now where they're there for him. Whereas opposed to somebody like Luke that's doing this every single day, doing real estate investments, whether they're flips or holds or whatever, he's keeping those contractors busy. So they're there for him. And I saw somebody comment over there. Jack said, I have 2 rentals and 3 flips, finishing a flip soon. My struggle is with finding good contractors. And, I don't know the area of Texas and whatnot, where you are, what that scene looks like, but, it could be different, but that's a big part, is just finding that team. And if you can get 1 solid team or 2 solid teams that are exclusively almost working just with you, that can be a huge key in success.
Yep. And there's also pitfalls to this. I don't want to make it sound like it's 100% awesome. Something I'm going through right now with these guys is like, they literally, I knew a lot of them beforehand growing up with them, right? And then after a while, it's like, I find myself being like, oh yeah, dude, family stuff this week, off this week, whatever. And it's like, sometimes you'll begin to feel with certain people in the crew that you're carrying them, right? And I feel like that's okay sometimes, but when it's too long, it kind of needs to stop. And I actually, the one cat I reached a breaking point with last week, and I was just like, brother, we can both agree that you're not in the right headspace right now, man. I'm like, I'm not giving you the boot, but I need you to go home. I'll call you in a week or 2. Take care of yourself, right? I'm like, this stuff will be, you clear this up, this job and stuff will still be here. So, I'm pretty sure it'll work out, but like, it was the first time where I was really like, nah, I'm putting my foot down. And, all right, this project's going to be 2 weeks behind, but so be it. Because if not, it'll just build, build, build. You don't, when you don't deal with stuff, resentment builds. Then you tell stories about other people on your own. Hey, you don't know what the hell's true. It's all a waste of time. But something I would tell for everybody here, that when you're doing these flips, depending upon your level of risk and where you are and how many deals you can get done, if you have a contractor that comes in and it's fairly priced, good pricing, not killing you, but reliable, approach them and say, what does it look like if we work something out and I literally pay you every 2 weeks and I'll keep you busy, and I can guarantee that for 6 months, right? You might be putting the cart before the horse, or the horse before the cart, however the hell they say that. But if you commit to it, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to go out and find another deal, because that these people are there for you. So it's something to keep in mind when you're dealing with contractors.
Yeah, and it goes back to what we said earlier about greed as well. It's sometimes, could you maybe get the work done cheaper, bring someone else done and get it done quicker, not have that 2 weeks that you're putting it out because of that. But, you don't get greedy, you take care of them. And, in the long run, that's probably a winning solution until it's not. And then you do got to make the changes. But, in the everyday life, not having that greed, like you said, giving the wholesaler an extra 10 grand, where next time, who's he going to bring that deal to first? His next you.
Right.
And that stuff goes a long way. Real estate is a long-term relationship game. There's no way to get rich quick in this business. Sure, you can go out there with little money, do some wholesale deals, make 10, 20, 30 grand, but that's not get rich. That's some quick, easy, not even easy. That's some quicker money. There's still a lot of work involved. There's still a lot of, 12, 14, 16, 20-hour days involved. But yeah, you can't do that. But the long-term aspect of real estate is where it's at. And that's how you sustain and build a long-term business, is by doing all the stuff you're doing. So that's awesome to see. All right, cool. Let me see if we got any questions going over here. I was trying to keep up with them. One thing I wanted to ask you about, Luke, is, and I'll get into the Q&A here, is, I get this a lot, and I don't know, maybe you can shed some light onto it. It's kind of off topic from investing, but you being a realtor, you're an active realtor with EXP, is that right? Or not?
It's true. It's almost like at the point where I'm embarrassed to say it, but yes, I still have a real estate team. Yes.
From my understanding, there's more realtors than homes for sale in the country right now. So
that is an absolute 100% true fact. 100%.
So that's interesting, but nonetheless, like, what is your experience with being a realtor and an investor? Would you, if somebody was getting new into it, would you recommend doing that? Just forgetting about the real estate license? Like, what would your thoughts be on that? If you don't have any, that's fine. I just thought I'd ask you.
Man, what I think, me personally, I think if you pay attention and you don't listen to all the people that are on the soapbox out there talking stuff about being a real estate agent, if you pay attention, becoming a real estate agent is literally a gateway drug to being an investor, right? Like, you're going to get it and you're going to look, and then you're going to deal with investors. And you're gonna be like, these guys are a pain in the ass, running me here, trying to talk to me. I'm like, I could do this, probably. I could probably do it better. But the cool thing that it does, it just shows you how the business works in an aggregate. You have access to the behind the scenes MLS stuff. That's kind of cool to look at. It's easy to look things up. Do I recommend it to people? Yes and no. Yes, because you're literally your own business owner. Even you got to hang your license with someplace, right? But you're your own business owner, and literally you can become an agent with like $400. True story. I got my license from taking a class on Groupon when I was a teacher. $120. Can't make that shit up, right? I remember it so much so that I had a fifth grader. Her name was Serafina. She was in class right before lunch. And I remember, like, the timer on the Groupon class thing, right? They didn't care what you were doing as long as you kept clicking, right? So I made her go to my office to click through the shit. And she did it, because when you get your real estate, they don't teach you anything about selling real estate.
Right.
Basically teaching you, like, for some reason, if you don't have morals or common sense, that's what they're trying to teach you during your classes. But investing is it's the 100% the way to go. right? And I know like, and that's what, a side note that drove me into like building a relationship with Chris was like, all he's talking about is real estate and how to use whole life policies and a bunch of other stuff that kind of fit into that, right? What do all super duper rich people have money in, right? Some of them will sell off a business here and there. It's those two factors, right? And they're available to everybody. It's not like some exclusive thing, right? It's not like you need to know this person. No, it's like you just get it started. So that was a rad thing. But yeah, the investing route is to me, the way to get to the goal faster. And I think most people have this goal. Maybe it's not totally clarified yet, but it is like full peace in quote unquote retirement. And all retirement is hey, you owe $8,000 a month for your family to live the lifestyle you want. Your passive income meets or exceeds that. That's what retirement is to me. And then the time's yours. So if you want to work, you can. If you don't have to. You do whatever you want. And I don't see a better vehicle to get there than being in the real estate lane, lending, right, flipping, holding for sure with the cash flow. But that's how I see it. Yeah. I could be wrong. I'm just one dude. I don't know.
It's a great way to look at things, man. I agree with you 100%. Is that your family behind you in the picture?
Where is that? Oh yeah, that's the twins. Okay. So I have 3 of them now, but that was like the first family picture a couple months after they were born, and I rent these books for when I'm on Zoom calls because it makes me look smart. I've never read them.
It's a good move there. It's called a little Zoom hack, right?
Yeah, take that, guys. Zoom hack.
All right. We got a question. Luke, how many flips are you planning to do the remaining of 2021? What is your typical turnaround on a property?
Answers that you're not going to want to hear because it's not good for setting goals. So I'm an opportunistic type of person. This year, we'll complete by the end of the year. There'll be about 4 or 5 flips done and sold, right? I had no goals this year. I ripped up my goals in December. Okay. Now this is going to sound a little bit off, but I've done the whole goal setting thing where it's like, I'm an agent. I'm going to sell 50 units this year. I'm going to be number 1 in the office, right? And then I did it. And then you know what I felt? Nothing. It was attached to nothing, right? That goal wasn't attached to anything. So I took a different approach, which I like better, a bit of a hippie with this stuff, but I'm like, let me see what emerges through me this year. Let me see what happens. And basically the same sort of stuff that happened the year before is happening this year, but it's easier and it produces more money. I don't know how that really happens. I'm a big trust in things and let it work out. But yeah, I don't have any total goals. It's just opportunistic. Like I'm not looking to flip a home today, but if I find something and I'm doing numbers, I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna go call that person. I'm gonna write them a letter, knock on their door, whatever it might be. If it works out, it works out. And then now it's like gaining access to more capital. I could take on more projects.
No, listen, man, it's the contrarian point of view on things like that sometimes is a wonderful thing, and everybody's different. You don't have to have goals. I mean, people, I got my first money multiplier policy last year after kind of fighting Chris on it for a little while. And then I finally clicked. And then once I got it, I'm like, holy shit, these are awesome. And
yeah,
obviously I help them sell them and I talk to people all day about them and, create a lot of policies, but I've been doing that now for, I don't know, a year and a half now. And, I'm licensed in 40 states and have sold hundreds and hundreds of policies now. And I still to this day can't tell you what the commission on one of those policies is. I have no idea. I just do them. And so what you're, a lot of, like you're saying, like other people might have a goal. I want to make this much off commission or this many policies. I just do the best I can every day. And what I do a lot of time. Now I'll also set goals on some things, but something like that, I'm with you 100%. So it's kind of funny to say that, but
it's help people get what they want. And you'll always get what you need.
Right.
Right.
I'm a big believer in that.
And by get what you need, typically it's get what you need times 10. Really, that's how it goes. It's Help people get whatever they want. Don't worry about that. You know, the bottom. You got to pay attention to your bottom line, but don't be overly like, oh, I could have made more money if I structured a policy this way, or oh, if I would have done this different in the flip, I would have made extra money. Be happy keeping things moving. Everything's in motion, and money likes that. It's called currency for a reason. Current, moving, always moving. It's all, this shit's all kind of like science, but hippie science.
Sure. I like it. I'll be looking for the real estate hippie edition investing book one day.
Yeah, maybe. People won't read it. You know, I'll light it on fire or something.
We'll buy it and stick it on our bookshelves like you right behind us.
Yeah, there. Yeah. Well, you know what?
Look cool on Zooms. That's all we need.
I'm gonna write it just because I think people would buy it, and now I'm gonna be greedy, and all I want is that cash flow from the book sales. I'm gonna do that.
You'd be greedy later in life. How about that?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Did getting your real estate license help you network to be an investor, or do you think you could have networked just as well without it?
I was, I could have done just fine without it, but it definitely helped, right? There's not a downside to having your license because it's just different buckets of people that you're exposed to, right? So it's like, here we have a community. I have a community of investors. I have people I grew up high school with, college, right? You're creating all these different groups of people. And the cool thing about it is if you go about your way in these different groups, just helping people, if you can, with whatever they have, just being nice, not being a dick, whatever you do when you're looking for help or you need something, it'll show up. People will help you out. That was a very interesting thing for me because I've lived my life like I was in business, but I wasn't in any sort of business until 7 or 8 years ago. Like I'd be the dude that would like handwrite Christmas cards to everybody I knew just because I thought it was fun. But I'm staying in contact with people and I didn't want anything out of it, right? And plus I didn't have anything to potentially sell them. Then things changed and I didn't realize. I was like, oh, holy shit, I could live my life authentically now and not have to call people with nonsense scripts and shit like that. Just talk to them, you know? I don't know if that answered the question, but you got something out of it, I hope.
I like it, man. I agree with you. I've had a real estate license for, 17 years now, probably. It's been active maybe half that time, inactive for half the time. I've always kept it just to have it because you never know. And I've actually had it in a couple different states. So I'm going to take different licenses, or different tests, but it's something I'll probably always keep just for what you're saying, just because it doesn't hurt. And, it does open up some doors to other events and things like that. Like every now and then I'll go to a realtor association meeting just to check out what's new or who's new these days, who's around, things like that. So
in the real simple way to look at it is it doesn't cost too much every year. If you're an investor and stuff does hit the market, which there are deals out there on like the market. People always say there's nothing, but it's like there's deals.
Well, especially in a normal market right now might be a little bit different.
Yeah, it's definitely different now. It's like few and far between, but you can still find them, right? But when you're an agent and an investor, it's like you don't have to wait around to get an agent to show you shit. You can just go ahead and do it yourself. And then you get the bonus of like, however you negotiate that deal, like you'd say, oh, all right, depending upon what brokerage you're for and where you're at and whatever, you say, well, just don't pay me commission and give it to me for this. Or you get paid the commission for doing a deal that you know how to do anyway, right? You don't have, you're basically, you're cutting out the middleman of another agent, which I think is great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, cool. So just one more time, this is the Private Money Club Mondays. Luke Medico is one of our latest members who is on board as a borrower right now. So we've been talking about different deals he's going, his experience with everything. If you want to connect with Luke and you're in the Private Money Club, either talk about future deals he has going on, stuff he's got going now, shoot me an email, snaggy@chrisnaugle.com, and I will make an introduction to him. This does go on public YouTube. So, this is exclusive for Private Money Club members. So if you're on, Luke will be on Slack. Are you on Slack yet, Luke, or not?
I am. I haven't looked at it in a couple of days, but I got on last week. Yeah.
So, you know, on Slook, we can connect, or on the private Facebook group, or just email me. We'll connect you that way, you know, either through a text message or email, so you guys can connect. But, and then on the new privatemoneyclub.com, everybody will be on there when that launches, hopefully, like I said, by next week. So, with that being said, we got a couple more questions coming in, and then we're going to, you know, we got a few more minutes and we'll wrap things up. So, speaking of affordable housing, with companies like Boxable in the process of making homes cheaper to buy, such as a need for many, do you foresee housing prices being significantly affected, and in its place, land prices significantly increasing? So that's a bit of a loaded question.
It is.
I'm not sure what Boxable is myself. Do you?
I don't 100% know, but like the context clues tell me it's like they're gonna, like, I could be totally wrong, but this is reminding me of like the Carvana for homes, where it's like there's just a damn box of a house and they ship it to you and they put it on your land. I think that might be it. I'm literally just making this up.
Yeah, no, that would make sense actually. Yeah, I mean, you must have, you were a teacher.
Yeah.
You look at things different, but no, I mean, so if that's the case, Eve, I mean, it's kind of like a mobile home or a prefab home, right? So, I mean, I don't know if that'll really, I think that overall market forces will drive prices of everything more significantly, and it's something like Boxable.
I think it'll be a very niche thing that might catch on in certain demographics in certain areas, and other, you know, like cities and stuff like that. There's not going to be a place for that, you know. And there's also going to be, I assume, depending upon where these things would be going, if this is how it works, local zoning ordinances, XYZ, and all that stuff's political. Always, and usually people that have persuasion over political matters probably don't have investments in that company Boxable. They probably have investments in actual real estate and want to keep that intact. So I would say it's a cool thing, but I wouldn't worry about any ramifications with it at all.
Yeah, great answer. So this one's from Shanna. Shanna's actually a new, I believe, lender from to the Private Money Club. She just joined this past week. So welcome, Shanna. Thanks for being here. Are you still, Luke, are you still using commercial banks as investors, or have you branched to private investors? Are you basically maxed out on your commercial and personal banking?
So one thing I did when I started, which was a mistake, but I didn't care because it allowed me to get everything. I would buy a house any way I could, which means, oh, hey, Discover card with your balance transfer offer. You mean I can get $20,000 out of you for a year at 0% APR? Great. I'll use that as a down payment for a house, blah, blah, blah. So then before you know it, you have all this shit showing on your personal credit, and then it's harder to get a loan out of your personal credit. And then the commercial side, they still look at your personal credit a little bit, but I'm not maxed out on my personal side at all. I think the conventional loans is like 10. I only have about 3. I keep everything on the commercial side. And to my knowledge, there's no cap on commercial properties. They're happy to have your money, right? So I don't believe there's a cap on there, but it's very situational. If it's something where it's speed, like I need the money within 2 to 3 weeks, and I don't want to go through the bank process of like, nah, I got to hold up for an appraiser, which they're taking way too long right now. And they go in and it's like, I know what needs to be fixed and how this is going to work. I got to wait on the appraiser. It's all situational, you know, it's totally situational.
Yeah, absolutely. With that being said, it looks like we got to the last question. So Luke, anything else you want to share, talk about?
No, man, I'm just happy to be able to talk a little bit, and I don't get to do this too often because this was like, you know, teaching life. This is what you did all the time. You talked and whatever. And in real estate, like I'm here. My kids are home through the summer. I don't even know how many people are at my house right now. Too many. And it's just nice to connect with people and to be able to share a story, not out of like, you know, vanity or whatever. It's like, hey, this could potentially help people get some ideas spinning. And like, you know, if anybody needs me for questions, comments, wants to give me a shit ton of money, whatever it is, I don't care. Just reach out.
Well, listen, man, I love your background and what you're doing now and your overall style. So thanks for being part of the Private Money Club, and definitely have you back on. What do you guys think? Would you like to have Luke back on future Money Club Monday? Anybody? Let me know over in the comments. Otherwise, definitely hop on. Luke, make sure you join us for the 2-hour group coaching call that we do every month. That's where everybody's on screen, on video, and everyone's mic'd up. So just like this, with everybody in the little boxes, and we all interact. Those are a lot of fun too. We have a great time on those. So make sure you join us on those. And anybody in the Private Money Club or MSTV, make sure you hop on this month. I think we have the Fortune Firm guys coming on that do. These guys are awesome out of Vegas. So I think they're on this month. So make sure you join us. It's a lot of fun. And Luke, it looks like you were a hit today, man. So thank you. And we'll definitely have you back on another Money Club Monday.
I rehearsed for this for a month, so I'm glad it came out very well. Cool. Right. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, and wish everybody, great week. And if I can be of service to you, just let me know.
All right. Awesome. Luke, you guys have a great week. Everyone, we'll see you next week.
Right on. Take care, man. See you guys.